In this video, chapter 3, section 4, we're going to be doing the truth tables for conditional and biconditional statements. Now, since we already have an idea on how to do this with the previous lecture video, we're just going to dive right into this, okay? So the conditional statement our conditional statement, if P, then Q, all right, which is given by that arrow, its truth table looks like this. The if-then statement is only true. Let me say it like this. The conditional statement is only false when you have a true antecedent, but a false conclusion or a false consequent. So if you need to, use a simple statement or a simple sentence that makes sense to you. So if it is cold, then I will not wear my jacket. Well, clearly that doesn't make any sense, because if it's cold outside, you're going to be wearing a jacket. Although, I guess in the world we live in, we've all seen those people where it's like 0 degrees outside and they're wearing a t-shirt and shorts. And they're all like, no, I'm cool. And it's like, no, you're not. Just stop. Just go put on a jacket. But anyways, the conditional statement is only false when you have a true premise or a true antecedent and a false consequent. For the biconditional statement, so let's go ahead, let's look at the biconditional statement. All right, it has its own truth table, and this truth table looks like this. Remember what the biconditional looks like? It's that double-headed arrow going back and forth, left and right. True, false, true, false. Remember to alternate and then double. Here's the truth table for the biconditional. You either have both true or both false. And in fact, you've already seen this before. You've done a lot of work with this. You remember when you multiply or divide? I don't want to say negative. Let's say signed numbers. Remember this? If your first number and your second number are both positive, your answer is a positive. If your first number is positive, but your second number is negative, your answer is negative. If your first number is negative, but your second number is positive, your answer is negative. And finally, if you're multiplying or dividing and your first number is negative and your second number is negative, your answer is positive. Now, I want you to take a small look at this table here, and I'm going to put it right next to this. And look at column B. Oh, isn't that interesting? The signs alternate. Positive, negative, positive, negative. Then you look at column A. Uh-oh. Looks like the positives doubled and the negatives double. Isn't that interesting how all this just fits? So like I said, you've been doing this a long time. It's just nobody ever said, hey, this is called logic and this is what you're doing. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and erase all this stuff because we're just going to dive right into examples. So here's an example here. Let's create a truth table for not Q, not P. Now, if you remember from a while ago, this would have been back in like section, I think 2. I said, and I made this statement, I said, well, if you have the conditional statement, if P then Q, an equivalent expression meaning it's the exact same thing is if not Q, then not P. Now I'm going to demonstrate that these two statements are in fact saying the same exact thing. So we have P, we have Q, then we have our statement, if not Q, then not P. All right. So what I'm going to do here is this. I'm going to break this down completely. I'm going to take the final statement and I'm just going to move it over here to the right for now, because I'm going to create a column of not P and create a column of not Q. In fact, let me reverse these. I'll make this not Q and this not P. And the only reason why I reverse them is because when I go to compare them, it's going to make it easier for us to kind of look at them. So Q, alternate. P, double it. Now we're going to negate. So first, let's negate Q. So that's going to be false, true, false, true. Now let's negate P. False, false, true, true. And finally, we're going to pull this back over. So remember, the if-then statement has a truth table that looks like this. See if I could just copy it and paste it down below. So there's the copy. And I'll paste it all the way down here. There we go. All right. So we're going to compare not Q, not P. So row 1, false, false. Oh, sorry. Let me highlight the rows I'm looking at. I always forget with these videos I make. Sometimes you don't know where I'm looking. All right, here we go. Row 1, comparing those two columns. False, false. That's going to be true. What happened here? These didn't copy down. Sorry about that. I look below and I'm like, wait a minute. They didn't copy. All right, anyways. False, false, true. True, false, false. False, true. True, and true, true, true. And if you look at this column here, and you look at the truth table, you will notice they are exactly the same. And that is because if P, then Q is equivalent to if not Q, then not P. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's do a couple more here. We're going to construct a truth table for the following. We'll do a kind of simple one, and then we'll end it with a one with 3 statements in it. So the statement we have here is going to be P and Q, or if P and Q, then P or Q. So don't get confused here. There's only 2 statements, P, Q. That's it. So we have 4 total outcomes. I will highlight in blue. This is the first one we're going to do. In this magenta or whatever color is, this is, I don't know. I'm not good with colors. I sound like I'm 4 when I say that. this will be the second statement we do. And then finally, in between, we will compare them to figure out the if-then statement. So Q is going to be true, false, false. P, true, true, false, false. And finally, we're going to do each one of these statements. So the first one is P and Q. All right, so I just want to match that up. So P and Q, true, and then all the other ones are false. That's it. Now, P or Q, so that's this statement here. Remember, that's going to be always true unless both simple statements are false. And finally, we're going to compare them both. I'll highlight this in green because this is the final statement. And here are the columns that I'm looking at. And remember, the if-then, the only thing you're worried about is a true antecedent, false consequent. So going straight down, true, true, true. False, true, true. False, true, true. False, false, true. So here we have a tautology. So this is a valid statement. All right, let's do the next one. So this statement is going to be not R and not Q. If not Q, then P. All right, so here, even though it looks smaller than the previous, we have 3 simple statements. So we have 8 rows that we're going to have to deal with. So P, Q, and R. Let's do these first. Let's get them out of the way. So alternate, true, false. There's 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let me count that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Now we double. True, true, false, false. True, true, and false, false. And finally, double it again. 4 trues and 4 falses. Now, let's take it one step at a time. Easiest one first. How about not R? So here's not R. We're just going to negate the R column. So we just alternate. That's done. Now, in blue, we're going to do the inside, but let's break this down a little bit. Let's go ahead and let's negate Q first. So this is going to be negating Q. All right. And we're going to compare this with row P. Now, like I said, I like to read this from left to right. So all I'm going to do here is just copy down P. And now I'm going to use the if-then statement. So I'm going to use these 2 columns here. And this just comes from practice. Like, the more you do these, the more you start to get comfortable with a method that you like. Oops, wrong marker. There we go. All right. So, not Q, then P. All right. So, remember, you were looking for true antecedent, false consequent. So, going right down the list, that's going to be true, 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 false, false. So our 2 last rows are going to be the false rows. Finally, I'm going to copy down not R and compare it with the if not Q then P. And remember, and I'll highlight it in green. This is an and. So, you know what? I'm not even going to copy down the R. I'm just going to highlight them in green for us. I think we're good enough. Here's green. Here's green. We're going to compare these two columns to give us not R and not if not Q, then P. Let me highlight this in green. All right, I'll do purple. So remember, and they both have to be true, otherwise it's always false. So that's going to be false, true, false, true, false, true, false, and false. All right, so there is our truth table for that. And clearly this holds no weight whatsoever. So that's going to be it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.